Welcome to the Stringjoy Show. I am Ryan. Today we are going to be talking about gain staging with pedals. GPT-4 what the best way to gain stage your guitar effects pedals were, and you know what? It was pretty spot on. It hit the two main concepts that I'm going to hit today, which is your boost overdrive before your distortion and fuzz. And the other method is the distortion and fuzz before your boost and overdrive. We're going to grab some sound samples as to how these two differ and talk about the practical applications of each. And additionally, I will tell you which one I use. We're going to be running this Lockhorn Instruments zipper into a Silktone amp, and that sounds like this. The first method. I consider this the louder is better method, and louder can absolutely be better, but this is the most straightforward. It's kind of you're going lower gain to higher gain, and then I put in some extra credit here with a boost at the very end. So the first is the overdrive, and the overdrive to me is the most personal and most important part of your gain staging with pedals. It's your home base. Whether it's here or whether it's here, this is going to be your home base. For this one, I'm using Electronic Audio Experiments Limelight, which is a blues breaker circuit. And that is going to sound like this. Has a boost circuit built into it, and the boost circuit comes before the drive circuit, and that's a very common thing. Our overdrive set and we go into a solo section, we go into something that's a little bit raunchier and we want some more juice, but we still want that bass Limelight sound. At that point, I'm going to add a rattler on top of it, and this is a rat circuit. What you heard there is those played really nicely together, and the Limelight actually tightened up the lower end of the rattler. Now, if you're looking for a different kind of sound, you can go for a fuzz. Now, I chose a Big Muff style fuzz here from Wren & Cuff because these typically do not care about buffers. You can put anything you want before them, and it doesn't matter. We'll talk more about buffers when we get into the second method. I'd like to caution on this is that you're never really going to put the fuzz all the way on with this muff with something going into it. It's just too much. I'll show you how it works. the boost here. We have just a clean boost at the end of the chain, and this goes along with the louder is better, because if you really need to kick into a solo and you don't really want to, you have a good sound here, you don't really want to mess with it too much, put a nice clean boost on the back end. And again, I noted there is a boost on this pedal here, so you have the boost on the front end. A lot of players have 2 boosts on one pedal board. Different approach, and this is very similar to one that I use. All right, first we'll address the home bass. The home bass has moved and it has changed. I'm using a Paul C. Tim here, and the reason I use this particular pedal is because it has a ton of headroom, and you need a ton of headroom if you're funneling everything into it. Otherwise, what you get, like a tube screamer or something like that, will choke out everything before it, which is a sound, and it's a sound that a lot of people like. Not really for me though. I want my fuzz to sound like a fuzz. I want my rat to sound like a rat. So then we will put our fuzz in the front. And why do we put our fuzz in the front? Because fuzzes, especially vintage style fuzzes, do not like buffers. And this means you also have to think about your tuner. A lot of the Boss style tuners have buffers built into them. So if you're going to put a tuner before your fuzz, you're going to want it to be a true bypass tuner. We have the rattler again, and then we have a boost on the Tims, so that's kind of cheating again, but very common. And then I kept this here again just for a sheer volume boost in case you need it. So let's start with our home bass. comparison's sake, I grabbed that Limelight again, and that has less headroom, less room to give than the Tim does. And it does create a very cool sound. It's just one where I feel like some of the character of both of these get lost in the pedal itself because there's just too much stuff. just kind of a basic overview of the two main methods of gain stacking or gain staging with pedals. Now, there are all different kinds of variables as well that come into play here. For instance, I was running into a 12-watt amplifier. You got to believe with this much juice going on there that the amplifier was also adding to the gain. So might be a totally different experience if you're running into a 100-watt twin or if you're running into a Kemper or something like that. And of course, there are outliers to every single rule. I'm sure Johnny Greenwood has done some really crazy stuff. You know, like the sound, I really enjoy the sound of a slapback analog delay before my dirt, because that makes a really cool sound. There's just all different kinds of ways you can experiment with this. But I think as far as like getting your style down, these are the two methods that are great to start with. So thanks for taking the time to check this out. I will be back again with some more cool pedal tricks in the future.